for recording that I capture audio. My AirPods apparently didn't charge on my other charger for some reason, so I have to look into that.
We doing portals tonight?
Yeah, I'm in Portals now. I know there are, what do we got? We got 10 people in there. So
Wait, how do I join the
the
link?
yeah, the link to Portals is in events. It's in the one I posted last night. I just replied to it for
Okay, I see it. How have you guys been doing during the, I guess, sell-off, but also just this past 70 hour?
yeah, so I'll throw it out there for everyone because I don't know if everyone had heard, but just had a question in VC asking about like how we've been doing with the past 70 hours worth of announcements and sell off and general FUD and whatever is going to exist in the space. And in all honesty, I actually had drafted up a thread that I was going to post last night, but today, just with family things we had going on, just didn't have a chance to read through it and you really kind of modify it. Um, I think it's very interesting. I think really at the end of the day, I mean, we kind of saw that the space was going to trend to this point. Um, we've kind of seen that for a while, to be honest with you, and it really was like I'll say a few different kind of events that had pushed us to this point. I don't think overall like it's going to be a lasting majority negative um, impact on the space. I think it's just a growing pain, and if nothing else, it really will. I'll say thin out the competition. I don't necessarily even mean it that way, but I think you'll see a lot of projects that we're kind of doing, I'll say, like the bare minimum in hopes to still get some level of income. I think you're going to start seeing those kind of go away. And my hope is that, we'll see less projects on launch pads that aren't needed or that probably should be doing something else. I think too the narrative around like having revenue streams and such, that to me kind of gets a little old because at the end of the day, any project that has decent revenue streams can get instant competition from someone else to kind of capture a part of their market share. And and then also on the other hand you have projects that have like an IRL or like a web 2 kind of component that they want to build, like the one that was recent for like a coffee company, or that wanted to sell coffee and they got a lot of shit for that. It's kind of like, where do you draw the line between people having this narrative around needing revenue streams and then people saying, "Oh, well, not those kind of revenue streams." You know what I mean? Like it's kind of challenging because people are like, "Oh, well, then why don't you just start like a GoFundMe or something like that for creating a product or something that's like more Web 2 based versus using NFTs to fund a Web 2 based company." So I don't know. I mean, I think there's just a lot of opinions getting thrown all over the place. I think a lot of people are panicking, rightfully so, and I think the B2B models that a lot of projects boast in the space, I think kind of fall apart. Not all of them, but some of them fall apart just based on um, the other business that they're targeting, for things such as launch pads, for staking, for insert like basic utility that someone can copy paste from one project to another. Those won't really be as needed in like the short interim because these new projects that come out, they aren't going to have a need to create staking because they're not going to be getting a decent bit of royalties and such after they mint out, at least for right now. So a lot of that will kind of fall apart too. So I don't know. I think it's very challenging. I think it's just a very tough time in the space. We're positioned very well. We've kind of been building that way. I'm not going to say we were expecting this to happen like as soon as it did, but all of our tools aren't dependent on us having royalty income or really even other projects leveraging us, as a platform. I mean, I know we have Token Market and Raffle that definitely help support other projects with token that they have, but we're not like a be-all end-all B2B kind of company. We charge 10 SOL to onboard a token into Raffle. That's not kind of our primary business. It really is just to kind of help other projects out that exist in the space, which I still think will be a valuable value add for other projects. So, and then on top of that, I mean, we have other platforms too, just launching Marmalade. We've got 70 plus artists on that already. I know we've started a little bit more on like the marketing side for that. Definitely want to get like a campaign together too for kind of spotlighting our artists that are on there. So, it might get annoying for folks, and I'm not sure if we're going to post it from our main account or create like a Marmalade account. But just to kind of highlight the artists that we do onboard that platform. We'll probably do it from main, because even though it's going to be like a huge push out front, you guys are just going to get inundated with new artists that we've added to Marmalade. Over time, it'll be like a couple of artists here or there that we'll be adding to the platform. So I don't think it'll be too crazy. So yeah, it's a long way of me saying that I think it sucks. For the majority of the space, I think we're positioned quite well with what we've built. I guess time will kind of tell how true that is or isn't. And we'll kind of see how other marketplaces adapt to it. I think it's, to kind of, I'll say, ramble on a little further, and I'll apologize if it's boring for people. I think it's very interesting for Magic Eden setting the fees the way they set their fees, so that way the buyer ends up paying a premium if they so choose to, compared to the seller's list. So for anyone that's not like super up on it, when you list on Magic Eden now, that's the amount of SOL you'll end up getting, because they also have a campaign going for 0% market fees. Eventually, it'll be that number minus 2%, but then on the buyer side is where you can either choose to pay all the royalties, half the royalties, or no royalties. And in order to change that, there's like a little gear that shows up that you can just click that gear and adjust it from full to 50% to 0. And I find that mindset interesting, primarily because, looking at like a lot of different kinds of markets and such that exist out there, like even like housing, like the fees and such are usually taken out from the seller side. So I think adding the fee on the buyer side for the most part means that the buyers aren't going to pay it. So I think it's just a different way of kind of setting things up. I think it's kind of set up for the most part in hopes that people won't go in there and adjust it. And so, they'll still get royalties and such. But I do find that kind of interesting. And then, of course, you still have, Hyperspace and maybe a couple others that, kind of do support the creator royalties. So I'm interested to see how they fare. I think, jumping in a little bit more too, like on the AMM side, there's arguments all the way across for how beneficial or not AMMs are going to be. We have our own liquidity pool that's set up on HadeSwap, and I should actually jump in there, but I think the last time I checked it, we were up to 19 foxes, and I don't think we ever sold one. I think we just ended up picking up 9 more foxes into our liquidity pool that we have. Yeah, so we're at 19 foxes right now, with 1 buy order remaining, and that's what's going to happen with an AMM. It's either you end up going all foxes or you end up going all SOL, depending on the price action. If you do have sideways action on like a wide scale, you'll get that bobbing back and forth, and then you end up collecting fees and such off of that. But I think with AMMs too, like it does end up making the floor thinner, so your volatility is less. Overall, better for projects that want to kind of stay in a sideways action. But it really just depends on having buyers and sellers too that come into the space. So I don't know. It's a long a long way of me rambling about a bunch of different things, but I don't think there's a perfect solution yet. I think the different tools and such that people are working on implementing to, put royalties on chain, there are certain arguments that can be made like against it, for it, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think it's very complicated. I'm very interested to see at the end of the day what becomes of it, what kind of ways will the space adapt to it, what kind of innovation comes from it, and then ultimately see how, the next bull market really takes over, and changes up, I'll say the marketplace game and the project game. It's certainly going to be a very different landscape when that does happen. So I know that probably was, I think, a more complicated answer than you were expecting, but hopefully that gives a little bit of insight from us.
That's a good answer. I've been meaning to check out Marmalade because I just got started with form function, and I kind of knew that you guys were gonna like respond in a positive way for creators, because that's what you guys tend to do, is you respond to market conditions. And so I just didn't realize you already had Marmalade
Oh.
in the works. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny. So he was talking just a little bit for the folks that are on the other side that couldn't hear him. Talking a little bit about us having Marmalade and kind of, more so like the positive light that we, ultimately will shine in the space, because at the end of the day, we're all about rising all tides for our project. I mean, people have given us shit for our low fees and, not much of a benefit for owning a Fox, and there's just so much to it that people look at on the outside to say, okay, like our project's shit because we're not trying to pump Foxy and we're not trying to pump our floors to, infinity and such. And then when something like this happens, they're kind of, probably going to be responding like, how come Famous Foxes isn't falling apart? You know what I mean? Like, why is everyone else falling apart when Foxes aren't? And then they push out these other tools that, create a platform for others to thrive on, including Boombox. Boombox, I know that's been out for a little while, and we're working on some more, bigger changes with it, but, we're not going to change Boombox's market to be 0% royalties. It doesn't make sense, right? Like, if we don't have the majority share yet, like, it'll be a matter of time until we get there, because I think, too, in the long run, what should really end up happening is for marketplaces to basically be forced to remove collections from them. If Foxes didn't want to be on Yaw or Solinar or wherever, where they're not honoring royalties, we as a project should be able to tell them, remove our collection from your platform. Maybe it comes at the cost of liquidity, from that platform, but if they're not willing to support us, I mean, it'll be a matter of time until more projects do that, and then they're going to have no one trading on their platform in the first place, and they'll probably go back to honoring royalties to a certain degree. And that's where I'm actually curious to see if a marketplace that isn't already out yet comes out that has a standard fee, let's call it like 0.25 sol or half a sol for every sale. I don't know why they're percentage based personally, but say it's a fixed fee to sell an NFT for that platform, and then they set up a percentage fee for royalties that's lower, call it 2%, and that's the fee on the platform. So the creator gets 2%. It doesn't matter if they're set at 10% or 0%. They get 2%. And then you just have a fixed fee in Sol for listings, then see how that kind of changes the game up too, right? Like, I guess that's the one question that I don't really see a lot of people talk about, is why is there a percentage value on the sale of an NFT for a marketplace? Why is it not a fixed value? It's not like it costs any more, any less to list an NFT on a platform for it to sell. It's purely a numbers game, and then you end up, losing market share because everyone else is changing their fees up to be percentage based, and not every NFT is going to make sense to sell with a 0.25 fee, so they're going to have to go somewhere else. But at the end of the day, you'll probably have better volume from legitimate people, and you'll have better collections that are also on there, because it's not going to be all these shit projects that are 0.01 SOL or whatever then getting flagged on your platform. So I don't know. Again, more rambling, but yeah, Marmalade is fantastic. We're here to support people. We're here to support the ecosystem. We're here to grow foxes and support foxes, and really kind of do what we can in the meantime for it. And so I'm stoked. We've done our first Marmalade commission from gonna butcher names here. I'm drawing a blank on who our first person was. I want to say Andy, but I know it's not Andy. And I'm sure Brink's probably around here, but I should jump on there and see. But yeah, so we've done one commission for our pumpkin contest, carving contest. So that was created from an artist on Marmalade that we, paid and all that kind of fun stuff. So, I mean, that's what we're really about. We want to be a part of this ecosystem for the long haul. I think we will. And we want to just be positioned in a way that we can, realistically grow and adapt to whatever is thrown at the ecosystem, and we're not in this, panic mode as a lot of other projects are currently, of trying to figure out what the landscape is going to look like post this. So I'm pretty excited, not gonna lie. I'm not sure if you can hear it in my voice. It's been a long day with family, so hopefully that does come across pretty well. Yeah, it's gonna really bug me as to Abby. That's who it is, Abby. Sorry about that, Abby. I take full responsibility for rugging you, but yeah, Abby was our first artist that we've commissioned from Marmalade. All right, 20 minutes deep. Might as well kind of jump into things. I will throw out there as an apology about, an hour or so ago, there was something that caused our node to restart. Not sure exactly what that was, but we've been switched over to a backup server, or backup node, I should say, so everything should be fine. I think it impacted like 2 raffles, one of which was a scammer that legitimately admitted that he was a scammer, which was awfully interesting in raffle chat. I think it's the first person that's like legitimately said that they were a scammer. But anyway, couldn't care less about them, ban them, all that fun stuff. But just wanted to throw that out there for folks that might have had an issue with missions or anything like that over the past hour. You should be good to go now. Everything, it's still taking a while to load. Try to do Control F5, see if it does come back. Yeah, we're being told that the latest snapshot on the node was gotten from an older version peer nodes. Tends to happen around version upgrades. They're still investigating, and will confirm once they switch us back to our original node. But yeah, as it stands right now, we are on backup node. But yeah, if you notice anything off, tag me, and we'll make sure we get it resolved. So we need to get resolved. I'll jump into a couple of quality of life updates that I missed actually from the last week. We do have ledgers supported for den pinning. So previously people weren't able to favorite NFTs in your den with the ledger, even with blind signing on and all that fun stuff. So that's been updated where you can do that. And the token market has a trending tab on it. So if anybody was curious as to what's currently trending in token market, you could jump in there and check that out. Token market shows the total amount of SOL needed when you're buying. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, we added The total was about 500 SOL worth of liquidity to Hade swap, and what we did was we added 10 foxes, and it was around 250-ish SOL. It might have been a little bit more than 250 SOL worth of liquidity to Hade swap. For anyone that's not familiar, it basically makes like a U-shaped curve where based off of price action from the middle, you either end up going, like I mentioned earlier, all foxes if the price action trends down, or we go all SOL in our pool if the price action trends up, so it's like buys and sells, and then it can go back and forth depending on the range that you have kind of set up. Right now, just to kind of report on what that looks like, especially for folks that might be interested about AMMs or creating your own liquidity pool, feel free to jump into like the HadeSwap collection page for foxes, and then if you go to the far right tab under pools, you can see all of the pools that exist in there. We are the DB9H wallet. It's the same wallet for our DAO treasury. So anyone that wants to verify which one is ours, very easy to find. And as it stands right now, like I mentioned, we're up to 19 foxes. So we've bought 9 in our pool. We've gotten about 12.33 SOL worth of fees for it. But really all that is to say that we have technically a spot buy right now at 26.06 SOL, plus that 12.33 in fees, so about 40-ish SOL and 19 foxes in that pool. So I might do maybe some reports on that every week if people are interested to kind of see the progress of it, and you're also more than welcome to just jump in this page and watch it over time to see what happens. To see if you're interested at all in getting into like the AMM pools, or just following what foxes are doing in it. At this point in time, we're not planning on adding more liquidity to it as of yet. I know they opened up TFFs, I believe. I was trying to figure out if we should or shouldn't throw some liquidity in there as well. Currently, we're holding off on that, but just wanted to kind of report out to folks that might be interested in following along with some of the things that we're doing with some treasury funds. Let's see. I might as well jump next to the auction just because that was announced at least earlier. So the Gossip Goblin Fox auction went live on Thursday on Form Function. I believe we're currently in plans to keep our Form Function account set up with Foxy enabled for it. After we had our first 2 auctions done on the platform, I think the original plan was just to keep it open for 2 weeks. They reached back out to us and said, hey, based off of what you guys are doing, like this looks pretty cool for us to keep up for the long term, or at least the foreseeable future. So look out for our future Famous Fox Friends and Foes raffle or auctions on Form Function. As of right now, that's the plan, but just to at least throw out a little update on that. Jumping into some more quality of life updates, you can share links to foxes on the Fame leaderboard. So there is a share icon. You can grab the link, but Dev also did put in like what the URL would look like. So famousfoxes.com/Fame leaderboard, and then you have a token ID equals whatever your fox number is, and then you have a collection equals whichever of the collections that you want to grab between FFFs and TFFs, and I believe you can do friends and foes as well through there. So you can grab a link, you can share it directly from there. That's all I'll leave it at for now. I don't think we've changed anything else on it, but yeah, that's what I'll put out there. So if anyone's interested in sharing their fox, by all means you can grab it from there. It might be kind of fun to throw in if you've got like a link tree, or if you just want to track your foxes in a different fashion versus going to like my foxes or going to a leaderboard and trying to find your specific one. You're more than welcome to just grab a couple links for the foxes that you have. And then for Marmalade, we did a add in a filter that lets you filter artists by art styles, and then you can also search by name. So that's been super helpful. I brought Marmalade up. Let me jump in to see if it will let me sign into it real quick. But I just wanted to mention how many art styles that we have. There have to be about, if it's not 40-ish, it's pretty close to 40 different art styles. Anything from 3D to branding to drawings, environments, graffiti, line art, pixel art, Twitter banners. If there's something that you're looking for from a commission side and we don't have a style for it, just let us know. Like, more than happy to see, or artists. If you guys know of artists, shoot them over a Marmalade. There's a form on there, a button that says sign up as an artist. Super simple process. The only thing that I'd like to mention, on here, if you do contact people, make sure you have them DM us on our Famous Fox Fed account just to verify that they submitted their profile. That's been the only thing that takes us a little bit of time, is just hunting people down and saying, hey, did you submit the form? It's been 100% accurate that people have, but we just want to make sure that no one is trying to pretend to be a different artist that they aren't. And so there have been cases where people on Twitter don't have their DMs open, so we have to try and find an email account or their website or portfolio or something that can track them down to actually ask them, which we've done, and have gotten 100% of people saying that they have created their profiles. But that's the only thing that I would say that can help kind of streamline our process, is just to have them DM us on our Twitter account to just verify that they are that official Twitter account and that they did submit that form. So, and the more the merrier that we have on Marmalade. So that, feel free to send it out to whoever you think would benefit from being on that platform. And let me see. The last quality of life updates. So the first thing to mention, we did take, I think someone had submitted a suggestion. It might have been trade-up cards. So someone had mentioned the idea for modifying Fame Suck so that way it doesn't drop foxes too dramatically from a level standpoint. And I think the primary reason was around if somebody uses the fame transfer, Fame Suck, to drain their fox of all their fame and lists it shortly thereafter, there's a small lag where it might show up with a different, with our extension that we're not really recommending folks use anymore now that we have our leaderboard up and that everything's tracked on the leaderboard. But there's a little bit of a delay there, so some people might think that a fox has a higher level or higher amount of fame on them than they actually do. And we wanted to just minimize that, but at the same time too, we want to make sure that people can kind of progress in a fashion that makes sense, where you're not getting reset when you go and you use this fame transfer tool. So those are the main reasons that we have done it. It just brings you down to the lowest 10th. So if you're at level 19, you can go down to 10. That's just really how it works. It just brings you down to the lowest 10th level that you have for your fox. So just wanted to throw that out there. Would definitely be interested in feedback. If no one has any feedback on here, feel free to DM or something, or ping me in chat, whatever's easiest for you guys. But so far, I think it seems to be a fairly positive thing. And thinking about it too from a longer term vision, with foxes, if a fox gets up to high levels, 70, 80, 90, eventually that will be the case. A Fame Suck for 90 levels on a fox would be massive, to go from one fox to another. So it's just one of those things that we're trying to envision how to make it better in the long term, and just make sure it's kind of a part of the culture, like getting up to that point, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think that's seems to be fairly positive so far. And the last quality update that we have is that the token market shows the total SOL when you're listing or updating a token. So it just shows you the total amount in there as you're going through, very similar to how other exchanges are doing it with NFTs. Does the same thing now with tokens. So that's just the quality of life updates that we had. I'll kind of pause there to see if there are any questions in those before I jump into some of the other announcements that we have. I should jump into chat too. Let me see here. Alright, all I'm seeing are hi messages and such. Let me jump into portals too. Can't forget about portals. Lol, that scammer, hilarious. Alright, no, I'm not seeing any questions. But yeah, if you have any questions, just throw them in. You can throw them in the VC chat, or ping me in a channel is fine. I should see a ping, I don't have any right now. Or in Portal's chat if you want to throw it in there as well. You can certainly do that. Next, I guess one of the more fun things that we have, pumpkin carving contest. So that was an idea from Brink of just kind of doing something a bit more on like the fun creative side. So there've already been some pretty fantastic submissions. I actually was just looking at God of Souls that he put in there, and I was going to comment on it, but I'll probably do it in alpha later. I was curious if, because there's 2 pumpkins, or no, I'm sorry. It's not God of Souls. It's from Sonic Boom. It looks like God of Souls. But yeah, he's got a pretty awesome beard fox with the headband, pattern headband. But there's like 2 versions of it. One that I'm guessing is either a test or their child's, and then one that they had done, which I think are pretty fantastic. And then shout out to Pugs. Pugs looks great. I would love to see what it looks like lit up. And yeah, there are a few others in here that are great. Those are just more of the recent ones that are in there. But if you haven't had a chance, the carving contest is underneath Fox Chat. It's the first channel underneath Fox Chat. Pop in there, just check them out. But we'll have like kind of more official way for doing voting and all that kind of fun stuff when the time comes. But yeah, so we're going to be, the deadline for submissions is Friday the 28th at 10 p.m. EST, and then October 29th we'll switch it over so that'll be voting, and then voting will be open for 24 hours for holders to vote for your favorite pumpkin, and anybody can submit, but the voting side will just be for holders. For the FoxyDAO and for Foxy Pixels will be the only ones will be able to vote on those individual foxes. We set up a pretty solid prize pool, so first place gets 10 SOL and 5 chests, second place gets 5 SOL and 3 chests, third prize gets 3 SOL and 1 chest, and anybody who submits an entry gets 5k fame, so you'll get 5 1k fame tokens that you can do whatever you want with. But yeah, and we're going for like legit submissions. We've already been filtering out people that have sent illegitimate submissions. You know, we're not trying to do this so people just get fame or whatever. Like, we're really trying to do something fun and creative, and we don't want to take away from the people that do genuinely do it. I know I mentioned in chat that I ordered a pumpkin carving kit, and I got a nice big pumpkin. Don't know exactly what I'm going to put on it yet. Probably something for Foxy General, but I'm planning on putting a pretty decent submission in there myself, or cutting my hand open. One of the two will happen. But but yeah, definitely if you get a chance to check out what the submissions are in there, and again, uh, they will be open for submissions until the 28th at 10 p.m. So just keep an eye out for that. Let's see. I think the only other announcements that I wanted to make, I think I mentioned Gossip Goblin, but I'll throw that out there again. Gossip Goblin, 101 Fox and Friends and Foes, ended up going for 750K Foxy. That ended earlier today, and that was won by More USD, who goes by a different name in Discord, which I thought was kind of fun. But yeah, pretty huge W, and a great Fox to have. So definitely one of the more creative ones. Well, they're all very very creative, but from the Goblin Lab-esque Gossip Goblin side, definitely a fun look for for the Fox that's on there. It's got the little ears, the little I wouldn't call them cutouts, but like notches out in his helmet for the ears, and the little head and all that kind of fun stuff up top. It's a really cute Fox, so a big W, and then also congratulations to the people that had won the banners that were sent out for the Critter Cult collab mission. So there were 340 unique participants and 222 banners that had been airdropped. So you had almost a little bit better than a 50-50 chance. I think it was not quite a 66% chance, but a little bit better than 50% to win one of those banners. And so congratulations to those that did. If you are trying to find it, but you're not sure where, if you actually did win it or not, it shows in the same spot as our other drops. So you can find it in the same folder if you did the anniversary mission and you got one of our anniversary banners in there, or anniversary artworks. I'm not sure if you want to consider artwork or a banner, but you'll find that banner in the same folder on Phantom or whatever wallet you're using, because they're part of the same like airdrop collection, if you will. And I think the very last thing is just missions. Missions went live earlier today. It was a little bit later than the normal drop, but that's just because there were a few things that had to get finalized for them. Just to kind of read them off real quick. So solo mission for a sweater turtleneck scarf, level 26 plus. Solo Thug Life, level 28 plus. A solo t-shirt, a shirt t-shirt, level 28 plus, and Hobbit Den, and then, which I guess we can technically consider a duo, and then also a duo for a red-green sweater and an arcade den, and then a duo for headset, level 26 plus, and then our only trio this week is 2 Viking and a Viking den. Viking's level 30 plus, definitely the most challenging of the bunch to send Foxes out on. So just wanted to throw that out there, and let me just double check if there are any other things I wanted to mention. I don't think so. Nothing's coming to the top of my head. I think those are the main points that I want to throw out there for folks. So I'll kind of pause again and just see if there are any questions from folks. If not, we'll kind of get to, I'll say, the fun part where we'll do a chest drawing for 3 folks that are in our portals. So if you are able to and you're not over there, jump on into the portals, and we'll do that in just a few minutes here. I think that's all I got. I mean, unless there's anything else that anyone else has for me, like I always say too, my DMs are always open. I will apologize. There have been a couple of people that have reached out to me about smaller items that I just want to give a more genuine answer for, and I do. Usually I'll give a solid answer within like a 24-hour period, but yeah, I'm always available. Feel free to DM me. You can ping me in chat. I don't mind. I know Dev can be a little bit more sensitive about being pinged in chat. Um, that's primarily just because, he likes having pings for more technical issues just to make sure that things are running smooth. For me, I don't mind being pinged, about really anything. And, and so feel free to ping me if it gets too crazy or if someone's just pinging me like nonsensically forever. We'll deal with that when time comes. But yeah, I'm always available if you have questions, if you need an ear to listen to, whatever you need, just let me know. More than happy. And thanks for joining VC. Thanks for coming to Portals. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your weekend and a great week. And looking forward to seeing some more awesome pumpkins as they're starting to be created. And I know some people might wait till it's like closer to Halloween just because they don't want their pumpkins like going bad. So that's cool too. But that's really why we have the submission date as the 28th. Just make sure it's done before that. And yeah, feel free to hang out in Portals if you're in Portals and try your hand at the Bronclet. I don't know, Brink, if you're planning on seeing if anybody wants to compete in that or partake in that, I should say. It's not really a competition. It's a struggle more than anything else. But yeah, thanks for coming out to VC, and hope you guys have a great week.